Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from the studios of Video Sign Incorporated this morning. That's right. The weather outside is frightful, and there's no way I was going to get out there and fool around in this weather. It's snowing like crazy. There's got to be an inch of snow, at least maybe more on the ground. It's not drifting. And I'm going to have to go out and shovel later on. So I said, heck with it. I'm not going in the studio today. All I'm going to do is sit here and do the show nice and comfortable. And then I got to bundle up and go out there and take care of business. Anyway, show number 151, January the 16th today. Lots going on in the past 3 days. And we're going to talk about all of it today. We've had a city council meeting, drones over Washington, the farewell address of Sleepy Joe Biden. Oh, we're going to get in all of them. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about that and more. We got city council that had a meeting on Tuesday that was pretty entertaining. We're going to talk about that. But first, let me get a word about our sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Shop. Now, I look out there today, and this is the kind of day where you're going to break down, right, kitty cat? Yeah. You're going to break down, and you know what's going to happen? You're going to wish that you had taken your car to Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and had it checked out for winter, because this is the kind of winter you break down in. This is it. This is winter. This is what you break down in. And then you got to go out there and call CAA. They're being called by everybody. You can't get a hold of them. It's a nightmare. Make sure you get your car in to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and let them check out the whole car. Yeah, we still got another 6 weeks of this crap. It's not too late to get your car in there and get it checked out and make sure that Ken takes a look at it and straightens it out for you, because at the end of the day, you don't want to break down. He's going to look at all your systems. You want to make sure your defrosters are working. You want to make sure your brakes are good. Your suspension's good. You want to make sure everything goes the way you want. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, by the Kia dealership. Take your car down there. Talk to Ken today. Tell him Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And please, support our sponsors. They support the show, and we want to support them. And also, when you're watching this video, go down and subscribe. Cost you nothing. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe. And you're also going to get a notification saying that I've put up a new video, so you can know when the videos go up. Everything's good. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 100. I'm closing in on it. Let's get to over 100 and really get this show up and running, because the show's about you. It's about the city. And it's to help you make great decisions when we look at city council and when we look at what's going on in the city and how your tax dollars are being spent. Not to mention opinions on what's going on in the world. So yeah, subscribe. You'll like it. And I thank you very much for tuning in and subscribing and leaving comments. Don't forget to leave comments if you subscribe, and everything else. Okay, well, the good thing is well, I don't know. There's nothing good about the weather today. I'll tell you that right now. But we were in that Niagara Falls bubble for a little while. We do get the bubble, but then you get the lake effects that move up and down the lake. And before you know it, we got this kind of crap out there today. But we're not even getting close to what's going on in Southern California with those fires. And there's more outbreaks all the time. Then we had the Kilauea erupting in Hawaii, Mount Kilauea, the volcano. That's erupting. So things are getting turbulent, and California's due for an earthquake. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that in the next 3 months. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? Everything kind of happens at once. And then, because they're in the rainy season, it's going to start raining. And when it starts raining, you know what's going to happen? Mudslides, landslides, all that vegetation you saw on TV burned in Pacific Palisades. There's nothing to stop the water from coming down those hills. And guess where it goes? Straight to the ocean. And it takes everything out on its way. They call it flash flooding. And if you've ever been to Las Vegas when it rained, you'll know what I mean, because that place just floods out in a matter of minutes. There's signs on the road that says beware of flash flooding, because you're going by and this thing comes down the hill. It'll take your car right away and you with it. It's crazy. So be safe, California. We're watching you. And the Santa Anas are blowing up again. It's going to cause more trouble. And it's funny. We look outside and see the snow and that kind of thing. They wish they had this. They wish they had this. So Consider yourself fortunate, even though we don't like this kind of weather. So, before we get to city council, I want to talk about the big news yesterday. And that was a peace deal appears to have been reached, and a ceasefire, of course, between Israel and Hamas. And Joe Biden, of course, he's front and center with his farewell speech last night. I'm going to talk about that, but he's front and center saying that it was because of him that this deal was reached. I mean, we know this guy's cuckoo. We know that, right? When asked about it by reporters if Trump had anything to do with it, Joe said, "No. Are you joking?" And so, so he wasn't too happy about that question. But I mean, we got to make one thing clear: this is all Trump. Joe had a year and a half, 2 years to deal with this and get this thing stopped. Not nothing. All of a sudden, Trump gets on TV last week and he says if these hostages aren't released by January the 20th, Inauguration Day, there's going to be hell to pay. And Hamas all of a sudden said they're going to release them, but there's always a catch to all of this. Netanyahu is not going with it. He's saying Hamas has changed some of the items in the deal that they arranged, and so no, he's not going with it. He's not going with it, and it has to do with the hostages, what hostages are going to be released, and that kind of thing. So it's not going to be as easy as they think, although I do think it will happen. Because if it doesn't happen by Monday, as soon as Trump signs these papers and takes the oath and everything, then the next step is going to be unleashing Israel on Hamas in Palestine, yeah, in Gaza. Yeah, they're gonna say, you know what, Biden's been holding them back. I don't think the United States is going to go in and do anything. I think what they'll do is they'll just get Israel, give them a green light, and say, you do what you got to do to these people to get the hostages back, because we gave them a chance. They didn't work with us. Now it's time to get serious. I'm not Joe Biden pussyfooting around and not giving Israel the weapons and that. Believe me, they're going to send Israel in and they're going to take care of everything. So Hamas better straighten out their act, and that'll be that. But yeah, forget about the deal that was worked out now, because basically Netanyahu says no. They've gone backwards on this deal, and we're not going to comply. We're not going to acknowledge it until you do it the way that we want it done. So we're going to see what's going to happen with this. And this reminds me of the 1981 hostage crisis that took place in Iran, that was solved on the day that Ronald Reagan got inaugurated in 1981. And Jimmy Carter couldn't get these hostages out in 444 days. And he led a botched raid to get them out, and that failed miserably, and Americans were killed. And this reminds me of that whole thing, because on Inauguration Day, they were released. As soon as Reagan signed the papers, they were out, because they knew Reagan was going to go in and clobber them. So that's the way these people work. That's the way you got to work with these people, because that's what they understand. Nice, they don't know nice. They don't know nice. And when it's all said and done, they know one thing: power. And they know one thing: Trump isn't fooling around. And that's why all of a sudden they're willing to look at releasing the hostages and a ceasefire and a peace treaty and everything else that goes with it, right? And I laugh my head off, because Biden's taking credit for it. And I'm going, yeah, okay, sure, Joe. Go back to the basement. Go back to sleep, Joe. Go back to sleep, and let Trump take care of it. And the next step will be taking care of Iran too. That'll be the next one. All the sanctions go back on. Their money's going to be frozen. It's over for these guys. Now let's get to some viewer comments. 881 Slick, my buddy Gary. I have a question for you, Paul. During and after these city council meetings, I have to wonder why the comments are turned off on YouTube. Why does this council not want to hear what us stewards of this city have to say? My opinion um, is they're too thin-skinned to hear from us, the public. I agree, Gary. I don't know why they don't have comments on there. Probably because everybody's going to be hammering them. That's what I'd say. I mean, I don't know if it's about being thin-skinned, which they are. They get mad pretty easy, and I'll give you a case in point of that. But I think basically that people would just be in there hammering them. They would clobber them. So instead of having 5,000 comments of you're a bunch of whatevers, they just said forget about it. And you'll see that on a lot of these Facebook and YouTube pages. They just don't allow comments because there's just too many people that would be in there doing crazy, talking crazy to them. But I mean, and if you think about that, I mean, even during what was it, last week or the week before, one of the Facebook pages that was criticizing Mike Strange and other people had posted a comment, something about the 7.6% increase that Mike Strange approved it, and Mike Strange for some reason addressed me about it and said, "Paul K. Lemire, I did not approve that. Quit lying." And I mean, I don't run that page. I don't run that page, right? So I don't know why he was addressing me about it, but I just said, "Hey, Mike, I don't know what you've approved or haven't approved because we haven't had the meeting yet. The meeting's next week, next Tuesday. That's when they're going to release the budget, and all the counselors will have something to say, and they'll decide whether they approve it or not." Now, I said, "Mike, until you have that meeting, and I see you put your hand up to approve it or not approve it, then I really don't know if you're going to approve it or not. So, yeah, you got the wrong guy. It's not my page." But, a little bit thin skinned. Somebody made a comment about him approving it, and right away he's calling everybody liars and everything else. And me calling me a liar. I always get blamed for stuff. It's funny because I have restaurant reviews Niagara too, and somebody had a bad review about a place in town, and the owner blamed me. I don't know why. I never wrote the review, but he blamed me for it. So, hey, what do I know? People are strange. When you're with strangers, 881 Slick, always listening to both shows, buddy. No, he's talking about 4680Q, the live radio show, which is not on today, of course, because I'm not in that studio. I'll be back tomorrow if the weather clears up here. But usually I do the radio live at noon, and then I also do the video, tape the video while I'm doing the show, and post it on YouTube. So he watches both. He said, "Get ready to be bent over by this council." Sorry, Paul, I have to disagree with you. 93 to 94% of council don't read the budget. And you know what, Gary, I don't even disagree with you. I don't think a lot of these guys go through every page of the budget. I mean, when you have, 7 out of 8 counselors and the mayor not questioning anything in the capital budget, not one comment, nothing. Some of the counselors sat there for the whole 2 or 3 hours or whatever it took to go through it with questions and never even asked one question on 382 pages of a capital budget with thousands of entries, thousands of expenditures. So 93, 94%, Gary, there may be more. It may be higher than that. So I don't know. But I just don't get the feeling that if they don't have a question about thousands of expense entries and expenditures of taxpayer dollars, like $50 million worth, I don't know what to say. I'd have questions. I had lots of questions. I sat and did a whole show on questions. So either I'm just a whiner and complainer, which you might call me that, but or else they don't read this. They don't read the budget. They don't go through it. But don't worry, taxpayers. I got your back. I got your back right here. That's what my T-shirt says. I got your back. I'm watching them for you. At 881 Slick. Once again, I tip. We were talking about tips. I love thing about tips and somebody's idea about how you should tip. Making a point that, hey, the person that brings you $150 steak and lobster does no more work, doesn't do anything more than the person that brings you a hamburger and fries. So why are they getting tipped, $30 on the 20% of $150? And the guy who's getting the burger and fries for $20 gets tipped $4. I thought that was a pretty good point if it's about work. So Gary says, I tip always more than needed, even if the servers were not good. But I 99% of the time eat and drink at Grand Central, and there's a reason for that. And that's because they're always great there. So he tips it accordingly. So yeah, good point, Gary. Good point. And at the Iceman 69, he asked me, so do you tip on tax? And that's a very good question. Normally, I just tip on the total bill. If the bill's $30 and I leave 20%, I'll give them a $6, $5 or $6 tip. That's a 15 to 20%, right? That's usually what I do. I mean, if they're really, really good, I might drop a $10 bill on it. If it's $30, I got two 20s, I might just say keep it. It depends. It depends where I am and that if it's a place I go to a lot, I tend to tip a little bit better because they usually take care of you. A new place, 15%. So 15% of say $30 bill. If you're in there just for lunch, a quick burger, fries, and a beer or something, a $30 bill, I'd probably leave, $5. That's it. But I don't look at the tax as separate. I would just usually tip on whatever the final bill is. To answer your question. Okay, so let's move on. So our next little foray here is going to be into the city council meeting on Tuesday. And there's a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna get into that for a little while. First off, though, I might just do a little ad for my second sponsor, and that's Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Now, if you like pizza, if you like good pizza, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue is going to take care of you. Believe me, I'm a pizza snob. There's a lot of pizzas I don't like. That's one of them I really like, and there's a couple of reasons. Number one, their sauce and crust are fantastic. They're using the Mancini family recipe. Been around for 40 years, the Mancinis with Pete's Pizza in St. Catharines. They know how to make the sauce. They know how to make the crust. And they use cornmeal on the bottom, which is something I would do myself at home. As well, Mike worked in an Italian restaurant, the owner of Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and he knows how to make a pizza. He takes mozzarella, blends it with brick cheese. That's what he uses for cheese. He uses the Mancini sauce, and he mixes them in the right ratio. So you're not getting overwhelmed by sauce. You're not getting overwhelmed by cheese. It's on there perfect, and he cooks it perfect, and you got yourself a nice pie with fresh ingredients. But don't discount Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue for other things. They have subs. They have steak and cheese poutine. They have excellent chicken wings. They've got a full menu. You're not going to be disappointed. I think panzerottis they have. Nice. I had a panzerotti. It was really good. So I'm happy with them, and I like their pizza. So they're consistent, and that's one thing I like too. I know if I go there, I'm going to get a good pizza, and that's one of the things I really do like. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, 905-374-2222, or you can go to petespizza.victoria.ca, and you'll see their menu, and you'll be able to order, and they do skip in the whole shot, so don't worry about it. They're open late, too, till 2 in the morning, Friday and Saturday, so you have a couple of wobbly pops, you decide you want to grab a pizza to watch the Fright Night movie, and away you go. You're good to go. Pete's Pizza Victoria Avenue, support our sponsors, and they support the show, and tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. So, over to City Council. I love talking about City Council. Let's face it, I love talking about City Council. So there were a few good discussions. Now, a Chinese lady that's going to have a 20-story monstrosity next to her revitalized Victorian home on Zimmerman Avenue was interesting. She didn't speak English that well, so I had a translator with her. And her address to council was written in Mandarin, which this lady translated. But she bought the old Dr. McGarry house, the old McGarry house on Zimmerman, where the doctor's offices were for years. Not Howard McGarry, but his father started the practice over there, and Howard was there for a while too, right? So, I mean, interesting old house, very old house in the city on Zimmerman Avenue. She restored it. and I think she uses it for bed and breakfast. And because of the proximity of this new building at the old King Eddie, because the city has sold that property to the University of Niagara Falls, right? And she figures that this building is going to overshadow her yard and take up parking, and they're going to have to encroach on her property, and she won't have access because right now it's a parking lot, so you just drive through it into her yard. But now she won't be able to do that with a building on it, and she needs access to. There's a bunch of stuff going on, but anyway, she had concerns, and her other concern was that she wanted to buy the land. She approached the city to buy it. They said no. According to her, she wanted to buy it to get more room, but they didn't sell it to her. And she wrote her address in Mandarin, so it was interpreted. So it was hard to follow her what she was saying. But basically, she had a lot to say about it, and I don't think she's really liking this big building there. Um, but it's too late now. They were at the city council to get a zoning amendment so that they could build a 20-story building on the property that's going to be a mixed use of student housing for the University of Niagara Falls if these people ever come here. Since the province has really limited the number that can come in on these visas, and I mean, there's only, I'm looking down there. If I see 20 people wandering around, students, I don't know how many are there, but certainly not 10 to 15,000 or even 2,000 that the big show said was going to be coming in. So I don't know. I don't know, but guess what? University of Niagara Falls has got it, and now they got the zoning, so they're going to build it. Now, the other property that was included in this whole thing was 4,500 Park Street. The other one was at 4,200 Queen Street, which was the old King Eddie Hotel. Park Street, which is right where the meteor crater is. If you've ever heard me talk on the show, I talk about the meteor crater. That's at 4,500 Park Street. It used to be a city market. It was parking and everything till city council 7 or 8 years ago decided to rip it all out, dig it all out. They found contamination in there because Mike Cushman and Gary Wilkins hammered him on it. And they said they remediated it, and that was repeated last night. And although there's a lot of people who will dispute that, it was remediated for dwelling, for residents. A lot of people argue that one. So the 20-story building was okayed there. And the Penguin, Jason Burgess, our CEO, says that the city would be part owner in anything built there. So now we're going to be part owner in an apartment building. And he said they're going to roll the land into a corporation and be a shareholder in that corporation with some private entity that is going to build, developer, I guess. And like the city is they play a shell game here. They've got the holdco. So when Councilor Coco last night was asking about holdco and how much, or really, she wasn't asking about holdco per se, but she was asking how much that we got for Niagara Regional Broadband. And of course, the Penguin was, hey, hoo, double talk, look over there, there's squirrel. And he wouldn't say because he said that NRBB, the Niagara Regional Broadband, was held by Holdco. Now, Holdco is a company that we own, taxpayers, and he said that the board's got to meet. It's the old shell game. They got to meet to decide what they're going to tell us who are the owners. We're the taxpayers, we're the owners. So they got to meet this board. Well, who's on the board? Every city council member. And I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But back to 4,500 Park Street. Now, we're going to be involved in a corporation, and we're going to be a shareholder in the corporation. Now, we have Holdco, which is another corporation. We own Niagara Peninsula Energy, held by Holdco, the holding, Niagara Holding Company, which also is another part of a web built into the innovation hub and Spark Innovation Hub. When what before? I mean, there's so many different entities here that they're playing games with. You can't tell what they're doing with your money. Oh, it went into Holdco, which is our company. So where's the money and how much? And Lori Lococo made a great point. Councilor Lococo, she said, hold it. Niagara on the Lake was 25% owner of NRBB. And they said they got about 15 million out of it. So 25% of X equals 15 million. X equals 60 million. 60 million minus 15 million is 45 million. So I figure, okay, we got 45 million. But why was Niagara on the Lake able to disclose how much they got for their part, but we're not? Oh, because it's held in Holdco and the board has to get together and talk. The council members of the board, who you try, they they drive me crazy. This is this double word talk, this word salad. Everybody sitting around that table are on the board of Holdco. And they got to wait for a meeting to tell us. I mean, we should know before the budget, right? Because at the end of the day, they're going to raise our taxes because we don't have enough money to cover our bills, our expenses. Yet we have this money sitting there, and they're not going to release the numbers until after the budget. Are you crazy? Penguin, are you nuts? Okay, so that's the double talk we get from them and the shell game they're playing. And just add another corporation to that, another corporation where we're going to own a certain percentage of this apartment building that's being built with affordable housing and everything else. We're a shareholder. And he claims, the Penguin, that we're currently in discussions with a developer. And we should see that whole thing come to council in a few months. So, I mean, this is just another shell game here. We're never going to get a straight answer from these guys until somebody forces them by law or by a Freedom of Information Act or by getting a lawyer and saying, you know, we want an audit. We want an audit of Holdco. We want to know where the money's going. Holdco is like the Ukraine. It looks to me like a money laundering place. And then who's involved in it? Well, this new corporation, the city council, Innovation Hub, Spark Innovation Hub. They're all involved. It's a big web. It's a big web of moving money, the shell game. You know, like, oh my goodness. You can't get any straight answers over these guys. Even the counselors can't get straight answers. Most of them don't care. They don't want it anyway, but now the Penguin says that the land at Park Street has been remediated, cleaned up of contaminants, and it's good to go. But several people I know say this is an out-and-out lie. It's a load of baloney. The property's still a mess. Gary Wilkins and Mike Cushman showed me all the stuff oozing and the slag that's buried there. They'll tell you all about it. Gary adds that there's going to be problems when they start digging and connecting the sewers and water. Yeah, they got to go down. They got to go down to bring water into that place, and they got to connect the sewers for it. And when they start digging, they're going to find all this tar pitch and slag and everything else. So you ain't seen nothing yet. And basically all that land is contaminated from the cyanamide plant. And even down the old railway line that runs behind the houses on Park Street, the other side of 4500, it's going to get really, really interesting. Now, the Penguin also said the city has a preference for an apartment complex there with affordable units, and they definitely want to get income back to subsidize taxpayers. Okay. Sure, Bruce. Will we ever get to see the books? We want to see the books. We haven't from the Innovation Hub. We subsidized to the tune of 700,000 taxpayer dollars. Nor have we seen the numbers from the NRBB sale. And we think we're going to see numbers from this apartment partnership. I doubt it. I think we need more information about how much the city's going to invest and some projected returns on it. After all, it's taxpayer dollars that they're partnering with this developer. It's our money they're partnering with. I think we should know. I think we should know. Now, one thing I do agree with, though, from all this is we do need housing downtown. And the more the merrier. It's going to bring amenities along with it. So you get 2 apartment buildings, 20 stories each. How many units is that? Maybe 100 units? 200 units each? I don't know. How many units to a story? Whatever. Say 200. That's 400 more people. Maybe more if you got 2 people to an apartment. So that's all good for downtown. I mean, once they get enough people to support amenities like a grocery store and like banks and other kind of establishments, it's going to be good for downtown. My only problem is a bogus university and a partnership. I just hope these buildings don't turn into tenement housing, like the buildings actually bring more problems downtown than good. I mean, it's already a disaster down there. We want to lift downtown up, not bring it down further. So stay tuned for this one. In the next few months, we're going to hear more about it. Thanks to Ray Spiteri, Ace Reporter, for the review for this story. You can go to the Niagara Falls Review online. That's where I get all my news from. Niagara Falls Review online. And you can get the story from Ray and get your own opinion. But I think it's good for downtown, these 2 buildings. I think it'll be really good. I know some people aren't going to like it. There was a lady, other than the Chinese lady, talking about living across the street from it. 20 stories. They're not going to get any sun. And yeah, they're right about that, because the sun, especially in the winter, low winter sun, will be blocked out by that. And everything else that goes along with it. So, and she was also talking about the railway line behind that. Apparently, I'm going to get more information on this. Ted Celsi bought years ago, and when they tore out the railway and that, and she was saying that she was never asked if she wanted to buy it and all kinds of stuff going on there. But that's all contaminated land anyway, ma'am. You really don't want to be monkeying around in there. So during that little thing there, a guy from Niagara Falls who went to Niagara University in Niagara Falls, New York, was mad. He said to change the name of the university. Using the name of University of Niagara Falls is an embarrassment to the people that attended and graduated from the home of the Purple Eagles over in Lewiston, New York, the University of Niagara University over across the border. This is a travesty, an embarrassment. This diploma mill school. That was pretty funny when he got up there, and 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 he knows it's a diploma mill made to allow illegal immigration, that they wouldn't get through normal immigration channels. That's all it is, nothing more. He knows it, and then he said it's an embarrassment to his his alma mater, Niagara University over the river. Now, the usual time wasters took over city council with council only 8 graduating to the biggest time waster and maybe the worst city councilor. Councilor Triple F, I think she's off the hook. For now, anyway. It's amazing that the mayor, who has set time limits on everybody, allows only 8 to ramble on without limit. But he does, and she does, and the clock is ticking. I will talk about her more in a moment. And you got to remember, for every 60 minutes that clock ticks on a city council meeting, it's costing taxpayers $1,600. That's right. These meetings last year cost $1,600 per hour of meeting time. And you take into account all the salaries of the staff, the benefits, everything. Maybe the benefits are on top. John Ringo Beam said they're on top of it, and I wouldn't doubt it. But $1,600 an hour. So every minute wasted is a checkpoint on your wallet. Divide 1,600 into 60. Oh yeah, divide 60 by 60. Yeah, and then you find out how much 60 into 1,600. You find out how much per minute. What's it go about 3 times? 30 times? Yeah, 30 times, something like that. So figure it out. Do the math. It's a lot of money every minute that somebody wastes. But yeah, she got up and she was wasting, and we'll talk more about what she was talking about later. Now, the best thing of the night, and there's a lot of good things that happen. Overall, the meeting was really good. It was a calm meeting. People were talking. There was no really bullying or anything like that. Everybody got their say. Everybody was being kind. Maybe they listened to the show. They decided to take a kindler, gentler approach to 2025 here. But the best was when this little weasel came to city council, a guy that considers himself the Meyer Lansky of the Niagara Hotel Association. And when this guy stepped up, I'm going, oh, this has got to be good. Someone should have told them that when you get a penguin mad, they can be very, very dangerous. So you don't want to get a penguin mad, even though they seem calm with their flippers, waddling around and everything else. When they get mad, penguins can get very, very nasty. And this little weasel, Doug Burrell, came into council with a letter regarding the new bylaw to raise the MAT. The tax people pay when they book a room. When they stay in a hotel room, there's a $2 charge added. It's called the MAT. Now the council wants to raise it. So this guy comes into the city council waving papers, threatening lawsuits. Oh, like Tarzan, he comes in like a big shot. And oh man, sorry, Meyer Lansky of Niagara Falls. That don't play well with the Joker and the Penguin, believe me. And this guy's a pipsqueak. Like he's like Little Caesar, and he thinks he's Napoleon or something. I've dealt with this guy before. The guy's a douche, believe me. I don't like him at all. You can tell. So he comes in there like a big shot, and the weasel took a bad beating. He took a bad beating in the council meeting. Now, the one part that was really funny was when Councilor Only Eight stood up to waste time, and instead of letting the weasel get by, she started asking questions. And I got to laugh because this is the biggest ball bust ever. So after it was all finished, their 20-minute back and forth, she asked the guy, so you agree with the bylaw proposed then? I thought the guy's head was going to blow up. He just spent a half an hour threatening and blah, you can't do this, and what are you doing, and blah blah blah. We're gonna get a lawsuit, and you're breaking our agreement, and all this other baloney. And she asked that question. Well, I thought his head was going to blow up. He says, "No, that's why I'm here. I don't agree with any of it, especially without my input." He was beside himself. And I can't figure out if only eight was just busting his balls with that question, or if she was really just so out of it and just didn't understand anything about what he was talking about that she was just trying to appease him by saying that, But she tried to appease him after that, after he said, "No, I'm here because I don't want any of it." Oh, so she's trying to appease them, and it was pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. This little bully comes into council trying to push them around, and he got hammered. And she should have just let the Joker and the Penguin take care of it. She should have just let them take care of it. They know what they're talking about. They met with this guy many times. They know what he's like. She should have just let them deal with it. But no, she had to get involved. And that was funny. I thought his head was going to explode. And when it came right down to it, the Penguin told him to rub salt. He said, "Bring on your lawyers. We have solicitors of our own. And you know what happens when you go to court? You got a 50-50 chance of winning or a 50-50 chance of losing. It goes both ways. And our lawyers are as good as any of them." So he said, "Bring it on. You do what you got to do." It was awesome. And they took him down in the hour-long slap fest. And he finally sat down and shut up. Sorry, Doug. Council runs the city, not you or the hotel owners. We don't need your permission to create bylaws. You have no say. Whether you think you do or not, you don't. And this guy, he's just a real. I've had dealings with him before, and he's just another mouthpiece for the hotel owners. They send him in to do their dirty work. And I'll tell you my experience with him one day on the show. But for now, let's say we won't see him back at council for a while. And these guys, finally somebody's standing up to these hotel people because they pushed city around for a long time and get their way most of the time. Now it's time for them to get their comeuppance. And last night was beautiful. Thank you to Mayor Jim. Thank you to Jason Burgess. Job well done. That's all I can say. I loved it when he walked out of that meeting with his tail between his legs. And don't come back. Yep. So that was perfect. I loved it, and thank you very much for that. Oh, so another thing that got me last night was the bit when Councilor Coco brought up the sale of Niagara Regional Broadband. And of course, there was a bunch of double talk, like I said, and Holco and this and blah, 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 yada, 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 bullshit. So that's another one that really got me going. And I already talked about that a little bit. So I won't go into it again. Other than this to say that, I think we got around 45 million, probably more. I don't know what the terms of the agreement were, if we got it right away, if they're paying it to us over time. I don't know what the deal was. No, it hasn't been disclosed. We haven't seen anything. That was 1 year ago they sold it. January of 2024, the sale was finalized. So we've been waiting a year with nothing. And it doesn't appear we're going to have anything for a budget because they meet next month. But it's your money, ladies and gentlemen. You're the taxpayers. Niagara Regional Broadband is owned by you. It's your money. And I want to know how they're spending it. And you should want to know as well. So you raised our taxes 5% last year because we had a shortfall. We needed more money. And there's this 45 million sitting there, plus. And now they're threatening us with a 7.6% increase this year. And I figure there's $70 million floating around between the NRBB sale and casino revenue and the money we don't have to spend on the hospital, the money we don't have to spend on transit. We've got a lot of money sitting around. And unfortunately, show me the money. I mean, if this doesn't get you up to arms as taxpayers, I don't think you have a heartbeat. You better go get a heart monitor and see if your heart's beating, because this should be making your heartbeat beat fast when they're grabbing money from you, yet we have lots of money. On John Ringo Beam, special message, I am wearing pants. John always says, if you're not wearing headphones, you're not wearing pants. But I'm wearing pants, John. Believe me. Okay, so I don't know if you watched this farewell speech from Biden last night. I have no idea if you watched it or not. I don't know. I don't know if you did, but I'm going to tell you one thing. It was pretty funny. It was hilarious, as a matter of fact. I'm going to get to that after my next sponsor. My next sponsor is, let's see, let's go to Hamel Machine Shop. Because when anything has to get fixed, that's metal, where you need something machined, you need something fixed, Hamel Machine Shop is the place to go. That's right. Right here in Niagara Falls, been here since 1948. As a matter of fact, I'm having Bob Benner, the owner, come in next Friday, a week tomorrow, and he's going to tell us all about Hamel Machine Shop. They do so much work, custom work, fabricating. They re-engineer things that break and you can't find parts for. They have laser cutting machines. They have 3D printers. They can do so many things over there that you wouldn't think of, but you need around your house. You need back gates? Sure, come on over. They can design them, install them, weld them up for you, get them powder coated. They can probably do it all for you. That's where I go when I have to get anything done, is Hamel Machine Shop. And most cities go there to a machine shop, much like that Niagara Falls city does. I mean, you run over a rock with your lawnmower and it blows out the side of your deck. You're going to go buy a new lawnmower, take it to Hamel and get it welded up and repaired. You're going to get it welded up and repaired. Now you know where to go. Hamel Machine Shop. They're going to take care of everything from small jobs at home to industrial sized jobs. They can machine anything, make anything out of metal, welding, fabricating, you name it, they do it. HamelMachine.ca. You can see some of the beautiful work on their website they did for the wineries around here, metal work for their showrooms and their tasting rooms. Just amazing work they do. Every city needs these small machine shops for their industries, because not every industry has a big machine shop they can turn to. Hamel Machine Shop is where you want to go. Give them a call today. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. They'll be happy. I'll be happy. You'll be happy. Everybody will be happy. Okay, so this farewell address last night, I'm sitting here watching Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, and you know darn well he didn't write this speech. It's impossible for him to write this speech. He can't even think straight. Also, I think it was taped. I don't think it was live. It wasn't live. It was taped. And he was reading it off a teleprompter in a quiet room. And the best thing, well, though, I saw a picture of all his family sitting there, right? There was and Kamala, Engblom or whatever his name is, Kamala, Jill Biden, Hunter Biden, they're all sitting there. They're all dressed in black. It was like they were sitting at a funeral home, sitting in this funeral home waiting for the prayer service to start. They're all sitting there in black. And his speech was basically black, warning Americans about this and that. Like he had 4 years to warn them about everything, and he never said a word. Now all of a sudden, he's warning them after he got his ass kicked. Well, he got his ass kicked so bad he had to quit. Well, he didn't quit; they threw him out. And then the one who came in for him, Kamala, got her ass kicked. He's all these great ideas he's got now. For 4 years, he did absolutely nothing. So it was really funny to see him talking like this. And it was like a real black speech. It was a dark speech. It wasn't like we're looking forward to what comes in the future with America as a shimmering light in the world, a dark world, and blah, blah, blah. And no, it was all dark, all dark. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about. He didn't worry about it when he was in power. And, remember, Joe's got to remember, they threw him out because he couldn't win the election. So telling us all the great things that you did over the last 4 years, which is what he did. You think he was running a campaign speech. It was all about what he did over the last 4 years, how great America is. So great, they threw him out. They gave Trump a landslide. I mean, yeah, okay, he wasn't running directly against Trump after they threw him out, but it was his administration and his platform they were running. So they threw him out. Yeah, we threw him out. That's it. We're throwing you out. And it was probably the worst 4 years ever for the United States. I mean, he's going to go down as the worst president ever. And Obama and Jimmy Carter are sitting there smiling. Thank goodness we're not the worst presidents anymore. Right? Carter was, then Obama was. Carter was smiling. Now he is. And Biden and Carter are smiling. So that's good. Remember, your platform got landslided there, Joe. Remember that. You got landslided. And then, I don't know, he's talking about the Statue of Liberty on Springs or something. And when bad weather comes in, it doesn't knock us over, the Statue of Freedom. Okay. And he wasn't finished with the Statue of Liberty. No. He also told the people they're being taken over by a billionaire oligarchy. Oh, yeah. He stopped just short of Nazi and Hitler comparisons this time around, but he's moving towards that. And it sounded to me like in his little speech about the oligarchy, you got to watch out. They're going to take over. These rich people are going to take over, and you got to stop them and don't let them happen. Keep your eyes open. This is my biggest worry. All of a sudden, his biggest worry wasn't climate change, because that's what it used to be. Now it was this giant oligarchy that's going to take over and ruin America, and that's pretty rich, coming from a guy who was supported by billionaires, Oprah Winstream, Oprah Winfrey, and Taylor Not So Swift, and all the big people in the Silicon Valley in California. They were all Democrats, voting for him and giving him money. Plus all the other entertainers that were for him, giving him money. The media moguls that own all the media that were for him, giving him money, and China. They're all giving him money. So here's a guy who's warning you about these Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and other technology oligarchs. And he mentions technology oligarchs, but what did they do to Trump? And he let them do. Oh, they removed Trump's tweets. They banned everything. So when you talk about oligarchs, technological oligarchs, well, I mean, he had them under his control for a long time, for the 4 years anyway. They voted for him. So what's he talking about? And and he's telling people about this, and he's kind of like inspiring them to stop the inauguration or something. I mean, it was no worse or no better, I should say, than when Trump did on January 6th, telling his people that, like, you got to watch, lose the United States, and let's peacefully march down to the Capitol building and peacefully protest. Same type of deal. Same type of deal, but Trump got impeached for it. That's the difference. So are they going to impeach old Sleepy Joe for insurrection or any of that under Chapter 14 or Amendment 14th Amendment? They're going to use against them. They were trying to use against them. We'll see. Probably not. And then what else did he talk about? He was talking about that nobody's above the law, and that no matter what. What about him? He said he broke the law. He's a criminal, but they weren't going to convict him or bring charges against him because he's an old man with a bad memory. But they said he was guilty, classified documents. And what about his son? His son took millions from China, from Russia. He's on the board of Burisma, getting $83,000 a month with no qualifications to be there because Joe was the vice president. Hunter got pardoned by Joe for 10 years. Anything he did in the last 10 years. So what's Joe talking about criminal stuff? I mean, seriously, this guy's and then the pallbearers all sitting in the wall. They're dressed in black. His whole bunch of his compadres there. Oh, man, I'm telling you, what a joke. The real threat to America has always been bad governance. I mean, Ronald Reagan said it. The government would just leave people alone, they'd do a lot better. They'd be a lot better off. And Benjamin Franklin said, when asked what kind of government he's delivering to the people, he said a constitutional republic for as long as you can keep it. So bad governance is the biggest threat to America. And Joe Biden and Kamala, they were the epitome of bad government. That's what they delivered. They didn't succeed in anything they attempted. They failed at the border. They failed at the economy. They failed at world peace. They failed in Afghanistan. They failed to control inflation. They failed at oil policy. If you consider everything bad that happened in the U.S. over the last 4 years, if you think that's success, yeah, then Joe's your man for sure. But if you don't think that's success, then you better find somebody else because Joe isn't your man. He screwed up everything he touched, that guy. The whole speech was really a joke, just like his presidency. And I mean, Joe holds the title as the worst president ever, and he's going to continue holding it for a long time. Joe, I have a word for you on your farewell speech. Enjoy the home, and thanks for nothing. We'll see you around, buddy. Yeah, and I'm going to keep watching. There's going to be a lot more about it, but like this guy is a real joker. One last thing here, Colonel Ford. Yes, our premier, Doug Ford. I call him Colonel Ford, and not Colonel like COL. It's KERNEL, like a kernel of popcorn. He's leaving nothing to chance. In his bid to thwart President Trump's tariff threats, he's sporting a MAGA style hat that says, Canada is not for sale. I don't think Trump was asking to buy Canada. I don't think he was going to a real estate agent saying, how much you going to sell Canada for? So I'm not sure why he's wearing a hat that says Canada's not for sale. Maybe he's into real estate. I don't know. But it's not going to, he's not, Trump doesn't want to buy it. He's just going to merge with it and let it be a 51st state and enjoy all the things that the Americans have to look forward to. Lower taxes, better health care, a more better military to protect the borders, better weather in the southern states. We have somewhere to go. Yeah. So, but this is what Canadians do, right? Now, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to help the situation. Him wearing this hat seems odd to me that making a hat would solve anything, especially that says it's not for sale when it's obvious. When it's obvious, it's not for sale. Nobody has to buy Canada. He didn't ask to buy Canada. All he has to do with the rest of Canada is to get our house in order. Get your house in order. And there's not going to be tariffs. That's what Trump wants. He wants you to get your house in order. So, like I say, I don't know how this is going to help the situation. Seems odd to me that making a hat would solve anything, but I don't know. Doug Ford thinks it will. But the bottom line is get your house in order, close your borders, control your borders, don't let terrorists into your country unvetted. I mean, I don't think we should be forced by Trump to have to do this. This should be something that we all want to do, shouldn't it? Don't we want a safe country? We don't want terrorists running around blowing stuff up. So why does Trump have to force Canada to do this? I don't know. It makes sense to me. We'd want to control a country and get the terrorists out. Call me crazy. So that's about it for today, everybody. I'm still going through the budget now. I got some breaking news this morning. Apparently, the word was the budget came in at 7.6% of an increase. But now I've heard the mayor has gone over it. And he's saying, and it's going to be around 4.5%. And I'm laughing my head off because why did he do it now? Why did it come out as 7.6%? Is this his marketing joke on everybody? He's going to come in at 7.6, then all of a sudden come back with 4.5. I went in there and I took stuff out and I trimmed the fat and I tightened the belt so that people will accept 4.5 when it should be 0. Is that what he's doing? I don't know what he's doing. I haven't seen the budget yet. It's supposed to be dumped on us today at NiagaraFalls.ca under Finance 2025 budget. So I'll be looking at it. And I still have to go through the rest of the budget. But the first pages where they give a wrap up of everything and then they start going through the different departments, that's where you're going to see this. Now, the deficit was $6.8 million. That's why he was saying 7.6%. But I just thought right away there was a big bunch of backlash at 7.6%. I know Mike Strange was there saying, I never said that. I never said I was going to agree to 7.6%. No, you didn't, Mike. You're right. You never said that. I never saw you say that ever. And that's why I was waiting for the meeting to see what you put your hand up to, because you're going to put your hand up to something. I don't know what, but you're going to put your hand up to something. So anyway, now apparently it's 4.5%. We'll see. When the budget comes down, they're going to drop it on site today. Then I can look at the first pages there that kind of wrap it all up before they go into all the different 192 pages. They wrap it all up, and then I'll be able to look and see what that deficit is, if it went from 6.8 million or to like 4.5 million or something, or whatever it goes down to bring it down by 3%. Allegedly, it's 700,000 for every percent. So that would mean he would have to drop it 3.1%, which would be about $2.5 million. So we'll see what it says. I don't know. I got to look at it. We'll see. And if you tune in on Monday, the 20th, Inauguration Day at noon, Dave Wheeler and I will be in the studio, and we'll be talking about the budget and looking at places we think we could save money and bringing it to you. So check that out. And of course, the actual meeting is on Tuesday. So you'll be able to watch city councilors discuss it on Tuesday. And then they're going to decide exactly what they're going to pick our pocket for. I'm hoping it's nothing. But I don't think it's going to be nothing. It should be zero, by the way. It should be zero because, I mean, they've underestimated the casino revenue by $6 million. And there's no reason they can't say, take that, put it against the tab, and come in at zero. Pretty simple to me. Oh, they'll give you all the excuses. Oh, we can only take this much and put it towards tax offset and blah, blah. Nah, yeah, but you can save other places and put it wherever you need it. For example, if a road's 10 million, they can just take 4 million of the casino revenue, put it towards the road. That 4 million they save from the taxpayer dollars can go back into the pot and then reduce our taxes. So they move money around like crazy. They can do whatever they want. So I don't buy that we can only use it for certain things. Nonsense. That's what they're going to tell you, but that's not the way it is. I don't care what they say. That's not the way it is. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. Tune in tomorrow, finally Friday, talking more about the budget. If it changes, we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. There's lots going on, and we're going to get more tidbits from City Council, I'm sure, coming down the pipe. Until then, take care, everybody. Get out there and shovel. That's where I'm going right after this. I'm going to go out and spin the banjo out there for a little while. Watch your heart, though. Don't have any heart attacks. We don't want any of our friends getting laid up because of that, including me. That's why I'm going out and shoveling while there's not that much there. Anyway, take care. Have a great day. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown. Well, I was coming from downtown Niagara Falls to the Weatherhead. I'm coming live from the studios of 4680Q. Usually today it's Video Sign Incorporated. And stay warm, stay safe. See you tomorrow. God bless you all. Ciao, ciao for now. And keep your eyes on that budget. Eyes on the fries, baby.